Hi there. Congratulations on being selected as a possible member for the National Honor Society. This is such a great honor, and we wish you the best of luck through the application process. This short video will help give you some more detailed instructions on how to complete your application in the correct way, because it is a lot of information to digest. So hopefully this video will be helpful. First, we're going to go through the papers that you received in your packet, and then we're going to look at the website and talk about the application document that can be found on the website that you must also turn in. In the packet that you received, there are a couple of documents. First, you should have seen the cover letter, which says congratulations on being selected. Gives you some advice as far as the faculty recommendation form, etc. And it has the advisor's information at the bottom. This next piece of paper is the timeline of important dates. So you're going to really want to look at, obviously, the dates that are in September and October. And then if you are selected as a member, you'll be getting information on other dates in the future for the rest of the school year. In September, the applications, we allow you to submit your application on one of 2 days. You don't have to come both days, but you can either turn in your application Thursday, September 13th, or Friday the 14th. Used to be a lot of students would come on the second day, but nowadays a lot of students come on Thursday the 13th. As long as you are in line by 3 o'clock, you are fine. And so if it takes a little bit longer than 3 for you to submit your application, not a big problem. Again, as long as you are in the line on the 13th by 3 p.m. On that day, you will come to room 513, or if you come that Friday, room 242, you will get in line. Then you'll speak with either Miss Miller or myself, or you might speak with one of our senior officers. And what we're going to do is take your packet and open it up and make sure that you have all the parts that are required. If you don't have a part of the application, we will not accept it. Also know that you are not allowed to turn in your application any other way. So you cannot come before school, you can't come during lunch, you cannot turn it in late, and you can't turn it in early. And so make sure that we see you on either the 13th or the 14th. The only circumstance for this where you would be able to turn in your application late is if you were absent on both the 13th and the 14th. And we're going to obviously need a documentation affirming that. Then you're going to have to give the faculty council and the NHS advisors a few weeks to go through the applications. On Monday, October 1st, you're going to come back to room 513 or 242, depending on your last name, and you'll get a letter. And it'll say either you've been accepted as a member of NHS, and it will give you information on the induction ceremony in the first meeting, or you'll get a letter saying that that you've not been selected. NHS members, their applications are scored on a rubric, and so we don't just look at the application willy-nilly and then give you a score. There are very concrete guidelines when scoring your application. So if you end up not being selected as a member, there's going to be a reason or multiple reasons why. There will be information in that letter on the appeal process if you feel like you should be granted a second shot. If you are selected as a member, then you'll get an RSVP slip, and then we want that back. It's very quick of a turnaround, but we want it back by that Thursday, and that's because we have to know our numbers for the ceremony. Ceremony's on Monday, October 8th. You do not have to come to the induction ceremony to accept your membership for National Honor Society. A lot of times we'll have a couple of a sports team or two that has a game that night. And so if you have a conflict with Monday, October 8th, then you're just going to have to decide, which of the two commitments to attend. And we understand that there's a possibility that you won't be able to be with us on the 8th. Wednesday, October 10th is non-negotiable, so you must be present at the first meeting. This is when we're going to go over a lot more information about how the rest of the year is going to go. The next document that I want to talk about is the general membership information. Make sure before you fill out the application that you are willing to comply with all of the information on this document, that you are willing to comply with keeping the GPA, you are willing to comply with the hours requirement, with the monthly meetings, paying of the dues, staying updated, and basically upholding the 4 pillars of National Honor Society: scholarship, leadership, character, and service. If you've received this application and you don't feel like you're going to be able to uphold these, these requirements, then you might want to come speak with Ms. Miller or myself before you submit your application. We do have discipline consequences for folks who cannot comply with the requirements of NHS. The next document is the recommendation form. You should have gotten 2 copies of this. Make sure that you follow these directions. It even says, follow these directions carefully. And then just like what we said in the cover letter of your application, make sure that you decide on who can fill out your applications and get that form to them as soon as possible. Chances are you're not going to be the only NHS applicant to ask that teacher for a recommendation. Just as an FYI, Ms. Cole and Ms. Miller cannot fill out faculty recommendation forms for NHS because obviously, since we're the advisors, we're a part of the team that goes through the applications, we're not allowed to fill out faculty recommendation forms. The last document is the checklist and signature sheet. This is what you're going to want to take care of last. So once you get done with all the parts of the application, this is the checklist that you go through to make sure that your application is in the order that it needs to be and that it is completed. You're going to initial beside each item and make sure that you read through that information, which we've already talked about all of that. We also need someone from your household to sign, just kind of as a backup, saying that you are being honest in the information that you're giving us and that you understand that just because you apply for NHS doesn't mean that you'll automatically get in. We do have a small group every year that unfortunately don't meet the requirements for being a member of National Honor Society. As a side note, if you are not selected for National Honor Society as a junior, next year as a senior, if you are still eligible with the 3.75 GPA, you will receive another application. So as a senior, you are allowed to reapply if, as a junior, you weren't eligible, or if you were turned down, or if you just simply didn't have time to do the application or didn't do the application for another reason. In the cover letter, it also had a part where it said that you needed to visit our website in order to download the membership application. This is our website. To get to the website, you're going to want to go to the Fuquay-Varina School website. I'm going to go to Activities, then to Clubs and Organizations. Now there's other honor societies, so make sure that you are only selecting National Honor Society. And then here's our address. You're going to want to go to the For Candidates page. The page that's for members, that is the part of the website that you'll use after you are inducted as a member. So you're going to go to the For Candidates. There's some information here. This is where you clicked on the video. Here's the membership application. Make sure that you click on this arrow to download the document. If you just simply click on the name of the document, it'll pull it up, but you won't be able to edit it. So you're going to click on download. I would save it to your desktop or save it to your USB or what have you. Okay, and then this is a huge part of the application. So we're going to go through this and then we'll be done. So this document gives us an idea of all the things that you are involved in and that kind of represent you. It's kind of like your resume that you're submitting. Make sure that you are following, the directions and putting the activities and the great things about you in the right sections. So the first section is high school sponsored extracurriculars. We do not count anything for middle school. This can be clubs, teams, other organizations that you've been inducted in up to this point in your high school career. Over here, accomplishments, if there's anything, maybe you've been recognized for something, maybe you've been a leader within this organization in a non-official type of way, you can put them here. If you've been elected an officer in an organization or a captain of a team, that's going to go in a different section. Also make sure that we get a contact name. We don't check every single piece of information on every single application. That would be impossible. But we will spot check, especially if we see something that looks a little suspicious. Leadership. These are all the positions that you might have been elected to. And if you've never been elected, to a position of an organization, that's fine. You're just going to leave this part blank. Okay? This is community service. We want to know what kind of community service you've been involved with up to this point. We define community service as you doing something for someone else or on the behalf of someone else. You don't get any kind of money or anything back for it. So there's no type of compensation whatsoever. It is out of the goodness of your heart. Make sure that we get a nice description of the activity so that we can be familiar with it, how long you've done it, and definitely a contact person for it. It doesn't have to be through an organization or anything like that. And again, just give us all the information that you can. If you cannot give us the name of somebody who can verify the service for you, then you cannot use it on the application because we can't verify it that way. Number 4 is just anything that you weren't able to list in sections 1, 2, or 3. So make sure that you're not repeating anything at this point. And then we don't want to leave out work because a lot of people are not as involved as others because they're having to work a job, either part-time or maybe even full-time. So this is where we're going to want that information. Again, make sure that you give us a contact name and an email or a phone number so that we can verify if we feel the need to. On this last page, we're really just asking for your honesty. If you've been tardy to class a few times, we get it. Everybody has a bad day. But if you have been caught cheating, if you have gotten in confrontations with other people, if you have been disciplined in any kind of way here at Fuquay-Varina High School, we want to know about it. And then here, just any extra information that you feel like we need to know. Don't forget about the personal statements, the essays, And again, good luck on the application for National Honor Society.